Alright everybody, welcome back! So Gaijin actually went ahead and announced some battle rating changes this past week, and though I don't typically do this, I thought this time I'd go ahead and take a look at them, especially because we are finally getting a small amount of decompression, though not nearly as much. We'll be talking about the good, the bad, and what I think still needs to change even after all this. I'm going to be focusing mostly on air because, as I'm sure all of y'all are aware, air is my passion, but I might mention a little bit of the ground stuff later on as well. So first of all, the really good news, Gaijin has finally gone ahead and moved stuff up to 12.7. This is honestly really good. It was needed already is the problem. We probably should have had 12.7 back when the F-16C came out, if not 13.0 already. So the fact that they're just now moving us to 12.7 after they added the SE-27 and the Gripen and the F-15 is kind of wild to me. And speaking of, they're also not moving the F-15 to 12.7, despite moving the F-16C, the Barak, and all the other ones at the 12.7 as well, which doesn't make any sense to me. The F-15 has really good flight performance, and even if it doesn't have as good radar missiles as the SE-27, it is still one of the best aircraft in the game. It should definitely be going to 12.7, and so should the MiG-29G. That's another one of those weird ones, because the MiG-29 SMT is moving up, but not the G, and they have the exact same kit, and the G has better flight performance. Of course, the SMT does have better radar, RWR, more flares, but I still think that R-73s, the R-27ER and ET, really do justify a higher battle rating. That's the big thing, of course. I still personally hope that Gaijin will decide to go ahead and do a little more decompression. Go ahead and give us 13.0 right now, because if y'all remember, AMRAAMs were confirmed by the Gaijin devs to be coming in the first half of this year. That means either March patch or June patch. And to be honest, I think we're getting in a March patch, because they also confirmed that we're getting a C Gripen in March. And the problem is they've given all the C Gripen stuff to the A Gripen already. So the only thing that's left that they could give the C Gripen that the A doesn't have already is AMRAAM, which makes you think they're not going to give the A Gripen AMRAAMs and they're going to save it for the C. Of course, we'll have to see exactly what they do. They may just add a copy and paste Gripen C for people to grind out, but I really don't see that happening. And assuming we are getting AMRAAM, we're going to need at least another BR jump. Preferably already at 13.0, going up to 13.3 with the addition of AMRAAM, but honestly, we're probably just going to drop AMRAAM at 12.7. We'll get 13.0 later on, unfortunately. Most of the rest of the jet changes are pretty much expected. I was expecting the JH-7 to go up in BR. The Mirage 2000s both going up in BR as well is also expected, though the event one should go up to 12.0 along with the CS5. And the F5E is going to 11.0. This was desperately needed. And I'll probably make a video on this later on once it goes to 11.0, but the F5E was way too good at 10.7. It's just, unfortunately, now it's going to have to deal with 12.0s, but it is what it is. Better than it clubbing the entire matchmaker around it like it was. One change that I am personally excited for is the J29D, which is going to 8.3, and also the F9F5 is going down to 8.0, which is pretty cool. Now, that's pretty much it for the good jet changes. Now, we're going to talk about some of the really questionable things that I'm not 100% sure what's going on. So the biggest thing is, why is the Sagittario going to 9.3 when it's a worse Ariete and the Ariete is already at 9.3? What is Gaijin thinking? That one needs to change. Like, honestly, they either need to move the Ariete to 9.7, which I don't know how I feel about that. It's too good for 9.3. But I don't think it's good enough for 9.7. It's another one of those compressed jets where it's a little bit difficult to say, but what I can say for sure is that the Sagittario should not be the same BR as the plane that's better than it. Like, it makes zero sense. I can also say that I have no idea why they're moving the J8F up to 12.0, at least as of now. Now, I do have a pet theory, and it's that they're going to be adding those AMRAAMs, like I said, next patch, and if that's the case, they might be moving this thing to 12.0 to prepare it for whenever they're going to go ahead and give it those PL-12s they mentioned. Because for those of y'all who are playing back in June, you might remember, they said that the J8F will get PL-12 whenever the other nations get their activator homing missiles, like, you know, R-77 and AMRAAM. If that's not the case, though, then I have no idea why a glorified MiG-21 with Python 3s is going up to 12.0. The same BR as the F-16s. Even though I don't play props much, I'm also really confused by the J6K going to 6.7. The only really good thing about it at 6.3 is the guns. I really don't think it needs to go up in BR. It is not 6.7 material. It's not better than the P51H, which is still sitting at 6.3. So I really hope this doesn't go through. If y'all agree with what I said with those, you can go ahead and go to the thread on the forums with the talk about this. Go ahead and leave feedback, because these aren't final yet, by the way. They haven't even released the updated one. So, I mean, for all I know, I'm going to make this video, and like a few days later, they're going to have another list come out. I'm also super confused about why the British Mustang Mark I, which, as far as I'm aware, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, is pretty much identical to the American Mustang with 20 mils, is going up in BR, but not the US one. Just another one of those really wild and wacky things. That's about it when it comes to the stuff that really stood out to me. Of course, I don't agree or disagree with all these changes, but not enough to make a point in the video about it. What I will say is there are still changes that are needed. One of the massive ones for me that you all have heard me talk about many times before, Gaijin needs to move up the planes with all aspect missiles. So all the attackers they've added, the A10, the SE25, the A6, the AMX, and they continue adding more, they all need to go up in BR. We shouldn't be having planes with AMRAAMs at 10.0. I shouldn't have to worry when I'm playing my F2 Sabre about getting smacked with an all aspect missile from the 70s. The easiest way to take care of this is to simply move them up in BR to a point where they are competitive in ground RB, but not necessarily competitive in air. Those missiles are not supposed to be for going fighter mode. Those missiles are supposed to be for self-defense. So if you get attacked, you're able to somewhat defend yourself, but you shouldn't be competitive. You shouldn't have SE-25s acing. I also think that the F-104s need to go up in BR as well. The F-104A at 9.3 is incredibly annoying to fight. Have y'all spawned in like your 8.3 MiG-15 or another subsonic and then had to deal with somebody in an F-104A running away the entire game? It's already pretty competitive at its own BR and then it gets down tiered. Especially because all the F-104s recently got an engine buff as well, including the F-104A. So now you have a plane at 9.3, which goes like, what, 1470 on the deck? I'm also hoping they go ahead and correct some of the weird sim BRs as well. Like, for example, the F4F is 11.0, despite all the other, contemporary Phantoms sitting at 10.7. Even the FGR is 10.7 in sim. And yet the F4F is 11.0. Speaking of sim, Gaijin did actually go ahead and make some changes to the sim matchmaker. I don't think I've really seen anybody talking about this. I figured I'd go ahead and cover it, and these are actually pretty good. So for those of y'all who aren't familiar with how the sim matchmaker works, it has a rotation of 4. And so every day you're going to have a different type of bracket, right? So before you had, for example, on the first day, you would have 1.0 to 2.0, 2.3 to 3.7, 4.0 to 5.0, 5.3 to 6.3, 6.7 to 7.7, 8.0 to 9.0, 9.3 to 10.3, and then 10.7 to 11.3, before finally getting to the top tier matchmaker, which was 11.7 to 12.3. Now, I'm not going to run through all of these. I'm going to throw this up on screen just so you can see it, but you get the general idea. Now, what Gaijin has done is they've gone ahead and separated it down even more. So instead of having on the last 2 rotations just one big 11.0 to 12.3, which meant that, for example, the F4F could fight the F-16C, now instead it's only 12.0 to 12.7, and the 11.0s to 11.7s get their own little bracket to breathe in. This is a great change. I am all for making planes more competitive, so I'm super happy about this. By the way, if y'all haven't seen, I do usually play sim on stream on Mondays with Walvis. Not every Monday, of course, but sometimes, so if you want to hop in, feel free. I think that's about it when it comes to my thoughts and, of course, just the BR changes in general. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. If you did like this video and like to see more of this kind of, War Thunder news style stuff in the future, let me know. And if you did enjoy, feel free to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I make videos usually every Wednesday and Sunday, and I'd be happy to see you around. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Catch you next time. Peace, y'all.